Hello, welcome back to my channel and to my Fighting Fantasy Gamebook retrospective. And today we've reached the fifth in the series, City of Thieves. Oh, I used to love playing this one when I was a kid. One of my most beloved game books from the original series. You know, look at that incredible iconic cover. Zanbar Bone, like death, just gently caressing his sickle. One of my favourite covers in the whole series. And that invites you into this wonderful world of Port Blacksand, this incredible port. This is Ian Livingstone's second attempt at writing a fighting fantasy game book, and I think it's superior to Forest of Doom for the simple reason of the location. You know, this port is so much more interesting than Darkwood Forest because it's busy. There's lots of different streets like Clock Street that you can go down. There's all sorts of things going on, shops you can go into, alleyways you can walk down, all sorts of encounters you can have, which are very odd. Sometimes they don't really go anywhere. But there's a sort of busyness about this. It's a much more exciting, much more varied adventure than Forest of Doom. In this one, Ian Livingstone's getting a handle of the structure of the Fighting Fantasy game book. So he has this kind of figure of eight structure. So you go into Port Blacksand, then you can vary off in about two paths. Then you're going to come back to a point, meeting Nicodemus, and then you go off again to try and find the articles to kill Zanbar Bone. It's kind of figure of eight pattern that he'll start employing from this point on in his game books. So there's lots of good incidents in this adventure. There's a couple of niggles I have with City of Thieves. The first is Nicodemus himself. So the first objective you've got is you've got to go into this port and you've got to find this wizard. And you're constantly told that this wizard is a bit cantankerous, he's a bit difficult to deal with, right? So you're building up to this first big moment in your adventure. And then all you do is you turn up at this bridge, you walk down into his cabin and he just invites you in and tells you loads of stuff. I thought this was supposed to be one of the first great difficult part of the adventure was how to get to meet Nicodemus and befriend him. But in fact, he just invites you in and just tells you loads of stuff for about 2 pages. Come on, Ian, you could have thought about that. At least we get this brilliant piece of artwork, though. Wonderful. The artwork by Ian McCaig throughout this book is sensational. And look at this picture. Isn't that how Gandalf should look? Isn't that how you imagine Gandalf from Lord of the Rings? Just a perfect piece of artwork there. And then what Nicodemus tells you is, he says, right, to kill Zanbar Bone, you need some hag's hair, black pearls, lotus flower. Oh, also you need a tattoo, and you need a steel arrow, which just happens to be things you can find in the next few paragraphs as you walk out of his hut. That's convenient, isn't it? It's like me walking up to, West Ealing, Uxbridge Road up there, and on my way there's some hag's hair that's just lying there in the grating, and some lotus flower that just happens to be, flowering in the park today. It's very convenient. I'm being a bit silly, but, there is a bit of too much coincidence in this book. But they're sort of minor niggles. It's actually a very enjoyable adventure. But the best thing about City of Thieves is that artwork by Ian McCaig. I think that's the secret beauty of this book. I love McCaig's artwork. You get pictures like this, which are like an old 19th century illustration, almost something Dickensian about it. Look at the amount of detail. Look at the way that these characters come out of the page. You almost feel like you could talk to them, you could know them. They've got so much character. There's so much business going on in the scenes behind them. And then you get scenes like this incredibly sort of something out of the Arabian Nights, this woman rising out of her curtained bed with a snake's head on top. Fantastic imagery. There's horror imagery mixed with fantasy imagery, mixed with comic imagery. This artwork, I think, is the best artwork so far in the series and some of the best in the entire series. And I think it's what gives this book so much distinction. So I'm going to give City of Thieves 4 out of 5. It still works for me. I don't think it's as good as the Steve Jackson books. I still like those better. But I think this is one of the better books in the series. And next time we're going to be talking about everyone's favourite, Death Trap Dungeon.